So Teo, as you've been practicing this presence, um, and hopefully this morning practices and the conscious breaths during every hour and moving into this practice as we're doing it. Have you noticed, can you tell us some signs in your life that something is shifting and maybe there's not as much compulsive negative thinking?
Absolutely. Thank you. Yeah, again, once I started answering the questions, I was able to think back, and it's like, wow, the events of this week have been impressive. Been able to make better and quicker decision making. More apt to stick to my principles and beliefs, um, because they are much clearer, and because I'm present and confident.
Wow.
And that was the because, and then I looked back again, and then it just came out. My hand just wrote, and I'm present and confident. I was like, oh shit, that's just great. It's great because that stuff, especially with what's going on with me right now, my experience, um, it's really hard to make a decision and to stick with it because so many things are going on all the time. And I just because I'm going through something today doesn't mean I'm going to change my mind about what I thought about it before. My principles and my beliefs, they need to stay the same. I heard yesterday, um, you know, God was, is, and will be. And I've always wanted to do that. I've always wanted to reach that. And this is helping me. This is really helping me. Thank you.
Oh,
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 okay, Manuel. This question kind of has a two-part to it. You can go whichever way you feel inclined. The first part of it says, how might the practice of presence be diminishing your fear? Something Teo was kind of speaking towards. And the second part, when do you most feel grounded in the reality that you're not alone, that God's spiritual energy is eternal and within you always? So whichever direction you'd like to
yeah.
go there.
Thank you. It's very fascinating how spirit works because I lost my brother and my mother last year. And this week it's been, actually the last couple of weeks, it's been cleaning out the house, that, they lived in. And so a lot of stuff comes up, right? Because we're getting ready. It was going to close. In fact, it closed yesterday. But so I got, face to face with that, as a constant reminder, like the whole time I was there. And so that's been on my mind, trying to put perspective about, okay, like kind of a little bit of survivor guilt and but like I just being around, the whole contemplative process, including counsel and so forth, allows me to always return, whether I do it as a group or individually, right? And then, but also I get signs all the time, like these 3 ravens showed up on the front lawn as I was leaving after I had finished everything. And that was my dad, my mom. And my brother. But I get a constant reminder that everything is eternal, that, there may be some kind of veil that blocks access to each other, with regularity, or maybe I'm just not attuned to it. But absolutely know from my own thing is, I've been exposed, you turned me on to Stephen Jenkinson's work, from when you're posting. I had really, dug into him, so as I entered my 60s, I look at that, I could be gone tomorrow, you know. And so this is all preparation for that, and so the thing is you don't want to die a mystery to others, that's kind of like the takeaway. So that kind of motivates you. That helps me with my healing, and then also keeping their memory alive. That's all part of the, it's all part of it, and having these practices like this, to be able to, because like he said, bottom line is, in the last, like some people that go through end of life through, like the palliative care or whatever, they discover they're dying, is they get enlightenment at gunpoint, but we're kind of like, we're thinking about it all the time, but in a good way, right? Like it's coming, it's coming, but so I'm going to enjoy the ride to the end, man.
Thank you.
Oh.
Jack, you get to tell us an instance where you've experienced God's love and this energy, the Holy Spirit. Richard calls that energy the Holy Spirit empowering you.
I think often I'm in my mind about thinking I'm the only one who knows how to do things, or I'm the only one that does it right. I get into a place where I feel sad, alone, nobody else understands. And it's only when I really take deep breaths and let go. In fact, part of what I say when I breathe is, let go. And again, it's like at the end of the third breath, I feel like, okay, I'm okay. It isn't just me. I really am connected with people in a lot of different ways. We're all really different, and I have to allow people to be who they are and how they are. Just like last night when I was with my grandson, who's 28 or 29 years old, and having lots of problems, and I just felt I should be able to help him. As I was sitting talking to him, I breathed into being with him, being understanding, and let go of my judgment of him being different and me being able to solve his problem. And just said, okay, I just got to be here, be present. And the more I breathed, just the better we both kind of felt about it. I could tell he was feeling relieved. I wasn't asking him more questions. I wasn't trying to give him any answers. And, we both kind of relaxed into that. So that's a very powerful experience. Very powerful.
Oh,
That was beautiful.
Jeremy Roy, do you know anything about shame, brother?
I knew you were going to save that one for me.
You want to tell us how this peace of God has grown in you as you faced your own inner conflict around your inability to be a holy man?
Yeah. So, as a 2, shame is kind of a constant. It's my go-to. I can feel shame about anything, whether I had anything to do with it or not. So this is interesting. I noticed this just yesterday, and then the day before. I was talking at work with Debbie. She is also a 2. I mean, it's just so obvious the way she shows up in the lives of our patients and families. And then another really good friend of mine, Carol, she's also a 2. and I was listening to them, express a frustration with the way things are, and the way things have been done, and that was things they've experienced that I've also experienced. And as I heard this frustration, this lack of peace, and I thought, you know what? This week, I've been experiencing something different than that. Responding to the same thing, and typically I would respond exactly the same way. I'd have all this anger, and then that would be followed with frustration, and then I'd feel really ashamed that I felt all of that toward all those people. And there was a grace and there was a peace there was that I was even showing myself, not just showing to others, but to myself. I feel terrible that it took that comparison, that I had to see myself in them. But again, that's another way a two will operate. They can't see their own self. But I saw myself in them, and there was a difference there that helped me realize, you know what? Hey, this is working. The grace that I offered my own family in a situation with, it's a long story. I'm not always quick to offer my own family, my siblings, especially, this amount of grace, or myself. All of a sudden it was there, and I that shame was not there. And yeah, so it was subtle, but it was there. Because typically Debbie and Carol are two people that, man, I can get, it's like 3 twos, just going at it, Can you believe it? This whole thing. And then the shame. And it was, I found myself not being able to participate in that with them. And it helped me see that there's this little change happening within me.
Oh, so Arturo, the question, the prompt that we all struggle with is accepting ourselves as we truly are. And how has your confidence to enter into that acceptance been increased by meeting God?
Thank you, Jim.
You bet.
Yes, acceptance has been a big struggle for me all my life. It's like I've been chasing conferences and retreats and books and talks, and just to see if there's anything that would click, to change that perspective in me. And I was actually noticing that my intention was to, enter into these spaces in order to get fixed, because I didn't see myself as a son of God and necessarily worthy of His love. But as I entered these holy spaces and saw God through the eyes of other men, I've experienced that grace and compassion toward myself, and able to show myself with that. And suddenly the kind of like my, my intention has changed from fixing myself to knowing myself. and in giving myself that grace, and as I do in this practice of presence, it's almost like sitting in a space where there's no walls, there's nothing to hide. There's all of me is exposed, and yet there's a sense of peace. There's nothing to prove. There's nothing to change. There's nothing to do, basically. And so, yeah, I think the main way it's showing itself is, there's anxiety or this desire, this intention to fix anything that's wrong with me. It's kind of been put in the back burner, and I think my main goal right now is just to experience that presence and that peace that God provides, and it's having experienced that, it kind of gives me a different perspective, because it's almost like everything's okay as they are, as things are. So I'm complete with that. Thank you.
Oh,